Okay, we're going to go into this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Twist Helix.
Hello.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
James, and is it Bea?
Yeah, Bea. Really well pronounced.
Bea, where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
Spain, señorita. I must say, James, she probably stands out there in Newcastle.
Yeah, like we got the sort of Ibero-Geordie vibe going on. It's a good mix of cultures.
Absolutely. There's a lot we can talk about, so this is not scripted. As I said, I just want to sort of jump into how I discovered you guys. So I'll be very, very brief. I run a channel which is called Vaughn George. I just named it after myself because there's so many little different shows we do on the channel. So just to make it straightforward, the channel's only about just over a year old now, and we've already got about 9,000 subscribers. Now, I say that not to brag to you, but just to say that I'm very excited. We seem to have struck a chord with people. Yeah. So on the Vaughn George channel, we've got piano and keyboard artist, so I've got these different shows on my channel. I need to sort of diversify it. So on the piano and keyboard artist, we talk about artists related to pianos, keyboards, and synthesizers. We have another show called Geek Talk, where we talk about geeky stuff. And then I've got this next series now called Rising Star, which is what I'm going to be interviewing you guys on now. Now, the reason I started Rising Star was really because of people like you, really spawned by, you guys are familiar with Rusty Egan?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and I interviewed him recently on my channel. It went really, really well. And when I interviewed Rusty Egan, I realized that this guy and I are so on the same page. The difference being Rusty's an absolute legend and I'm just the guy. But Rusty has really got this, it seems to be like, I would say, we're not on the warpath, but there's just this, there are so many great artists out there who are not getting discovered and not getting the limelight, that, and it's all personal opinion. So, I'm not reactionary to the mainstream, but I'm not familiar with the mainstream. I just don't have the concentration or the ears for it. And then after meeting Rusty, if you look at his Facebook page, he puts out stuff that is really cool. And Rusty always says he needs to, because the mainstream music industry these days is not making the music that he wants to hear, well, he's kind of made it his crusade to kind of get all the good music out. So long story short, he sends the music, and I opened your link recently, Twist Helix, opened it up, and I went, fuck. Oh, we can swear on this, Garcia. I said, and I got goose flesh like I did when I said, this is good. And so I went on and obviously was it Newcastle? Was the
Yeah, it was like the video you must have seen.
Is it Newcastle or Newcastle? Go on.
Well, we're Geordies, so we'd say Newcastle.
Got you. Okay. So that's just no, because whenever I say Newcastle, they say it's Newcastle. Anyway, so Newcastle was the first video I saw, and obviously I looked at it and I thought, this is really good, very melodic. And then, of course, when I looked at your YouTube page, I thought only 223 subscribers, and I saw you got a really slick website. So I just thought I need to interview these guys. I looked at a few of your songs. I've got that song Little Buildings stuck in my head.
Yeah.
La 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 la. Sorry, I don't know the words, but what I'm trying to illustrate to you now, and I'm going to let you guys talk, is this to me is the measure of good music. You see, I listened to it once, and I've got that melody stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I get so much music today, and also when I'm coaching people, they'll send me their songs, and they'll say, what do you think? And I'll be, where's the song? And they're, oh, but yeah, it's got the beat. I was, where's the song? If I can't hum it after I've heard it, it's not a song. And sorry, I'm probably quite old-fashioned. So this is where I think your music really struck a chord with me. As I say, I haven't had time to sort of study it as much as I wanted to, because, we only got in contact a few days ago. Okay. But I really want to just interview you guys to bring awareness. I want all my subscribers to see you guys. And and we'll jump into the interview now because this.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, thank you for the kind words.
Well, it's as I say, it's kind, but it's all the truth. I'm well known for kind of speaking my mind. So if I like something, I will like it, and if I don't like it, I won't like it. Right. So Twist Helix, monologue over. Let's jump into this. When did you guys start?
Oh, I think 2015 is when the band started properly. Like we cut the demo, Bea and I. We'd known each other like from bands previously. So we very quickly, in about space of a couple of months, recorded a demo, got it out to our local BBC. We knew nothing about music, the industry, whatever, but we just thought, oh, this is a good song. So we put it out there, and
yeah, it got picked, and within a week we were on the BBC introducing program, and then we were like, right, so there must be something in there. So we just like started like putting together a band, basically.
Like I think our whole like journey in music is like trial and error, and being like, just if we like something, hopefully someone else will like it, and then we're just slowly trying to like piece together how to get it out there, really.
Sure. So so was this your first song that you sent to BBC introducing? They got back to you and it was kind of, so that's pretty good. That is, not many people can have that kind of, I won't say luck because there's no luck here. This just sounds to me like pure hard work and passion. So you guys have been going since 2015. So you're a three-piece.
Yes.
So James, you're the bass.
I'm drums.
You're the drums. Sorry.
I'm drums.
Sorry. And then you have a bassist.
Yeah, that's Baz.
Baz on bass. That's right.
Baz is down in Nottingham at the moment. He would have loved to be here, but
he lives there. So
And Bea, you're obviously the lead singer and keyboards.
Yeah.
See, you play. I'm just getting a bit geeky as a Phantom FA6.
Well, I play a Roland FA06. Yeah.
Yes. So. And I don't want to get too geeky on this, but obviously you have your setup is James. You'll be wired in through. You'll be listening to the backing tracks through headphones, and you play along to a backing track. Is that right?
It's no backing track. Absolutely everything's done through the workstation keyboard. So
wow,
all of our tracks, the way Bea composes is
it's a mess.
We'll try and orchestrate things so there's either a 4-count in, or Bea has a pause where she can launch an arpeggiator, and I'm locking in on the arpeggiator on the keyboards.
Yeah. So
it's weird for some bands, like if they don't have a backing track, to have like the keyboards lead rather than the drums. But
I have these little pads here. In fact, I have like the Roland like.
There it is. Hey.
That's there.
Yeah.
So basically, they've got like they've got like loads of functions, but I mainly use two of them. So actually, no, one of them is my favorite, which is like the mute and unmute. So I just put like I just divide the keyboards with different sounds, and I have to see like the octaves where I'm playing. Like the verses will be in this octave, and then there's gonna be like these so many sounds. And then in between songs, I need to find like 1 second that I can just like free my hand and then press the button to unlock the ones that are gonna sound for the choruses. And yeah.
You see, guys, you've just gone up in my estimations there, and not flattering you, but what I'm trying to say is these days most bands play with backing tracks, and there's nothing wrong with that. So you are doing it in a very live kind of way. So and looking at your live footage, your sound is very, very full. So I'm amazed to see that there's no backing tracks. It's literally you're sort of doing it on the fly. So but listen, that is can we just say now we're going to get you onto another interview later for my Geek Talk series.
Okay.
Geeky stuff, because Bea, you obviously know that this is predominantly a male dominated industry, as far more not music but production. It is a very male dominated industry, and I'm always interested to talk to the ladies in the industry that do production and things like that as well. So it's very interesting. But as I say, we'll get you onto Geek Talk. So let's come back to you. let's come back to your origins. So you guys have started. You're based in Newcastle, is that right?
Yes.
And you guys are gigging quite often.
Yeah, I think in the past we used to gig more, just because we would just wanted to go out there basically,
play as much
and
as we could.
yeah,
like I said, like when we started the band, like we didn't really know how to get our music to people, so the idea was, well, we'll just do 40 gigs a year, and you know.
And every single follower will be like a blessing. You will be like, oh, thank you so much for following our page or for buying our CD. And it's been really a work of just like every gig getting like 1 or 2 more followers, and maybe getting someone buying like a little bit of merch. And
if that meant playing free entry gigs in Workington and Barnsley and all of these strange places that no bands go to.
Yeah,
so be
I
it.
know better the UK than I know Spain, if you know what I mean, because I've traveled so much around these little places. But it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It is, and you know, guys, you are doing it the way it used to be done, and the old school way of going out. First of all, you guys can actually play instruments. You're proper musicians. Your songs are good. You guys look good, and I think everything's there. It's, you know, I don't sound like I'm flattering you now, but you know, I get really excited about things when I like them. It's just, as I say, in a day and age of things being really manufactured and pushed. This is something that Rusty and I have been banging on about, or him more so, is this, you know, power to the independent artist. And, you know, we don't want to go into the history of, you know, artists have always been screwed over by record labels and stuff. Of course, now it's different because you as the artist, now you can self-produce. The other challenge to that now is getting your music out is not difficult, but because of technology, a lot more people can do it. But of course, cream floats to the top. You know, you guys are good. And the challenge is trying to make a living from it, really, you know, to sell it. And of course, there's playing live, as you guys do. But how are you guys finding, you know, the streaming? You know, do you guys print CDs? Is it?
For example, we do print CDs, so everything that we record is actually physical. It's also for streaming, so obviously, like, we have like Spotify and all all these channels that we actually need for people to find about us.
I think you have to be everywhere.
Yes.
Like, you know, you got to do all the distribution things, but like for us, you know, it's crazy when you think like the amount of effort you have to invest to like build your presence on a platform like Spotify or YouTube.
Correct.
And for the payment you get out of it, like sort of like 10,000 streams is like one T-shirt sale. Like you would be crazy not to. You'd be absolutely crazy not to like push your Bandcamp or Music Glue or something like that, because those platforms are the ones that have made our career like sustainable. I mean, like we're in a nice position where, you know, the band pays for itself. I mean, like we're not making money, but like at least.
But we're not losing it. That's kind of it is sustainable. So whatever, I don't know, we make, then we reinvest it like for more merch or let's save this for this recording that we have. So it sort of pays itself. But we still have our day jobs, of course, because otherwise we couldn't live out of it.
I think the challenge like facing a lot of DIY bands now is that like CDs particularly, you know, are kind of declining in people. You know, like people are parting with CD collections.
That's right.
But that was such a great passport, like for indie bands, because like they're indestructible, they're small, you know, they can fit in the bottom of your merch bag or your guitar case, and like you could go anywhere with them. And like I think
and if anything is as James said, like sometimes we do go to a lot of gigs because we just like discovering new bands, and the scene in Newcastle it really is good. So we do go to a lot of gigs, and sometimes whenever we see that there's an emerging artist or an indie band, and have a merch stand, we always go to the merch stand and try to get something, because we know that will be the best way to support that band.
Yeah.
And even though the color of the t-shirt might not be of our taste, or we still try to support it in that way.
Full respect to you. You understand the industry, and you know my other half, when I got together with her many years ago, she used to download all her music for free. There was a I think there was a platform called LimeWire.
Yeah.
And she used to do it not because she was a crook or a bad person. She just, you know, people, especially the younger generation, it's kind of accepted that music is free.
Yeah.
And then when she got with me and she saw, because I, you know, obviously I'm a producer, and she saw how much work was involved in making a record. She's really been on this moral kind of campaign ever since. She buys all her music now because she sees how hard I work. Because she couldn't believe how much, and you guys will know how much work is involved in a record. You know, you write it, you produce it, and then, you know, and the recording process takes so long, then the mixing, and then the artwork, and you get it out, it goes into iTunes, which almost doesn't exist anymore, and it costs 99 cents. And then people go, oh, well, I'm not going to buy that. I'm just going to listen to it for free on YouTube. So digital has kind of been our downfall. So I think these days, as you guys know, we need to use these platforms like Spotify and YouTube as more as a promotional platform. But fortunately for you guys, you are sort of gigging musicians. And I think, I'm not giving advice here, but I think if you guys, as you say, if you just keep going and your profile will grow, you know, you probably, your most of your income will come from live performances and merchandise and things like that. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's horses for courses. Like, I know, like, for some other bands, like, you know, if you're like releasing quite prolifically, I think there is a way you can make streaming work. Or like if as a composer, like, you start to like try and actively like write to land like syncs on like films or advertising or something like that, I think there's another revenue stream there. But like for us,
it's soulless doing that, isn't it? When you're writing,
like
if someone was to pick up your song, because Bear, there are, I hate comparing artists to each other, but your voice, there's something in your voice that reminds me, I forget the artist's name. It's a little bit like there's something Cranberries in there. You know the Cranberries?
It's not the first time that, and you know what?
There's something Cranberry, and you know the movie Oblivion.
Yeah, well, I know that M83 just
there's something there.
Them, so
there's something there, and it, you know, it really made my neck hairs go, ooh. Guys, I've got this thing on my channel. When I talk, I always go off topic because, you know, my brain just goes, so always just bring me back into topic. So where were we? Okay, your voice. What were we talking about before that? The streaming and cut. No,
it's okay. This is live, so
yeah. No. Okay. So let's just bring it back to your gigging and stuff. Now, so where would you say your biggest audience is at the moment? Have you got, like, is it worldwide? European would be, because you've got a very sound that I think will appeal to Europe.
Yeah, like we are predominantly a Northeast band. We're in a position now like where like we fit comfortably in a 100 capacity room anywhere in the northeast of England. So like from about Middlesbrough, Darlington up to like Newcastle. Like that's our home patch. Like we launched our album last year in a venue called the Cluny. You know, we had a full room there, and then we wrapped up that period, like for the Oozburn album, in a venue called the Georgian Theatre in Stockton. You know, and that kind of made us think, okay, we've made something that matters to people up here, and you know, we have our little base, and then
it's following, yes.
Yeah, and then we've got in Spain.
I think Spain will be like our second sort of market, because obviously like our label is in Spain, and we have toured Spain as well. So we've been there, the national radio, like blogs usually support us in Spain as well. So I would think like the UK will be first, then Spain, and then just whoever wants to listen to us from the world is just like.
Yeah. According to Spotify, Glasgow. We're popular in Glasgow.
Probably, yeah.
I think, guys, where I lost my train of thought earlier on was when we were talking about sync placements, where you do music for sync. And I think, as you were saying, James, and I've always said this, you know, I know people who write for television. That's a different thing. But then you get people out there and they get this idea for a song and they go, let's make it more commercial and blah, blah, blah. It's so soulless. So I think in a case like you guys, and it does happen a lot where movies like Netflix or something will pick up a song like yours. And I personally always feel that's, you know, depending what you want to do. But I'm not giving advice here. I'm just saying with what you guys are doing, it's very likely that someone would pick your songs up for sync placement. But you're being true to yourself. I don't always endorse the idea where people go out just to make money to get on adverts, because there's just something really soulless and you know, soul destroying about that. But anyway, your music videos. One thing I've noticed, one of the questions I was going to ask was, are you guys on a label? And Bea, you've just answered that. You guys are on a Spanish label, a little independent label?
Yeah, like a very, very small label, independent in Spain. They are in Madrid.
Are they like a distribution channel, or do they give you funding? Do they like pay you money to make the records? Do they give you like an advance or something like? Don't go into too much detail if you can't.
Yeah, it's management and like production costs.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So
okay, not doing completely off your own back. Yeah.
So like I think on our YouTube, like you can definitely see the point when we made the record deal, because our production value has gone.
Yeah. And a music video, this is what I've noticed, is you guys have got a lot of music videos for a reasonably new band, which is a good thing, because I think, you know, with technology being accessible these days, you know, a lot of people can put records out. But I think by putting out a video, it does sort of take it to the next level. It's more engaging. And there was a video, Bea, the one where you're painting and you're throwing vodka at the cat.
Yes.
Was that one of the earlier ones, or is that one of the newer ones?
No, that was the one before Newcastle. So before Newcastle was released, like a few weeks ago, that was our last one that we had. And yeah, it was basically, it's all the frustrations of being an artist.
Oh, I could tell it. I can relate to that. Yeah.
Instead of music, we were like, well, we're just gonna do it like a little bit different and pretend that I'm a painter, which is still like probably they might have the same kind of frustrations when you're like trying to songwrite and you don't get any inspiration. Everything is done, and they tell you everything is done. And then you just want to scream at the piece of work that you just done. And yeah.
You never scream at your keyboard.
Never.
Never.
No, and just as a ballpark, I mean, your music videos when you were sort of before you got signed, what was the budget for that? Would you just get friends to help you out, or was it?
No, it was basically it was probably like less than 1,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like
just they will vary, but they will obviously, like we used a company called Flashlight Films, so they have been doing the videos, but that is more or less what we could afford at that time. And Graphite was the last one. Before we sort of like the label started getting a bit more involved, and then with them we released Newcastle.
Okay, that's good. And your latest album's called Ausburn, is that right?
Ausburn.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. Like I didn't know how to pronounce it either. Like when I came here, so it's okay.
Listen, guys. So you two are sort of like the who writes most of the songs?
Both of us.
It's a partnership.
I wouldn't say I write more than him or he writes more than me.
And like on the newer material as well, like I mean we've moved away from composing in isolation, and now it's like the three of us tend to be like
Baz is now part as well of like this songwriting process.
Like the keyboards are still like the defining factor in our music, and you know we're like it's really funny as a band, like being able to like tell early on the keyboards sound shit, so let's just drop the song. Like, you know, like if the keys don't work.
Okay. So would you say this sort of like the synthesizer is like the dominant?
Yeah, like
That's
usually it's like, for example, if James or Baz just come up with an idea, I just have to say, guys, just give me some time to see how am I gonna put this on the keyboard, and then we're gonna try to work and see if it sounds well. And if it just doesn't work and I just can't find anything suitable, then we just start with a different song.
Of course, you've got a very filmic, very epic sound. It's very melodic, and as I said in my rant in the beginning of the video, is my fiance, who's a lot younger than me, she's very sort of keyed into like the commercial industry, and she and I don't clash, but I listen to very hard to listen to music, and because I'm an artist, and she listens to this stuff and she goes, how are you not depressed? And because I just listen, and then but she like listens to Ed Sheeran and all that stuff, because I suppose she's not really a lover, and she introduced me recently to Billie Eilish. Now I recognize Billie Eilish as a great artist, and you know, completely talented and everything, but the first song she played me was a song called Bad Boy, and I was listening to this and it goes, bad boy, bad boy, bad boy. And then afterwards she said to me, what do you think? I said, where's the fucking song? And she goes, yeah, but this is really popular. I said, I know, but I know it's popular. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I can't remember it. How many songs these days do you listen to, and as soon as it's finished, it's gone? You can't remember it. Whereas the first time I listened to na 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 na, sorry, I don't know the words, but
you know what? That's
you know, if I take that song and I play it on a piano without all that great production, it's still going to rock. And this is what I'm always ranting on about. This is what Rusty and I had on about. He's got this thing when he goes, Ed Sheeran, you haven't got it. You haven't got it. He gets so pissed off when he sees. And I think we have this rant on my channel where I'm not, can I just say, I'm not an anarchist. I don't want to pull down the mainstream or anything like that. I just get really frustrated because there are so many bands like you guys that are not getting recognized. And it just seems as though a lot of people who listen to sort of mainstream music, you know, I don't want to use names because, you know, let's not pick on Ed Sheeran. He is a really talented guy and I've, you know, got nothing against him. But sort of music off that ilk, you know, that appeals to housewives, grandmothers, aunties, uncles, everyone's. It just seems to be that music, it's not the music, it's not music for music lovers, if you understand. It's just kind of like this, I met this girl, blah, 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 and then it rhymes with this, and then it, because it sounds like this, and it's this echo chamber. And please, I'm going off on a monologue again.
Yeah.
Then we come back to songs like Twist Helix, and I'm going to be interviewing Empathy Test on Monday as well. You must be familiar with them.
All right. So look, the one I'm wearing today.
That's not an empathy test.
I know it's not an empathy test, but they were going to play with them.
No, yeah, they were tour support.
Yeah, of course, because I've got the VMV
okay.
edition here. So we were going to see Empathy Test when they were going to support
in Newcastle,
VMV
and it was the only date of the tour they couldn't do it. And we were like,
yeah. So shout out to Empathy Test from you guys. It's such a small world, but you know something, I'm so glad to see that there is like this like-minded, because the way you guys are approaching music is very I don't want to say old school, but it's the proper way of doing it. Guy meets girl, gets together, brings the friend, writes the songs. It's a great song, gets it out there, goes out and gigs. Guys, this is just, I get so excited about this because this, you know, it's so reactionary to this, you know, sorry, just give me the time here. It's like, oh yeah, DJ so-and-so, yeah, go, bring in the artist, yeah, written by so-and-so. Have you seen how many people write Beyonce songs? There's like 15, and it's like, okay, now let's get it, all right, now it's going to be produced by Whoa Sing Sing Bokka Ding, and it's going to be remixed by DJ Silly Bollocks, and it's like, and you've got this, oh, this is featuring Blob, and you're like, it's shit, and they're like, no, you've got, no! Sorry, you guys are just seeing, I get really passionate. This is where it is, like what you guys are doing, this is where it is, and I just want to go, this is where it is. When are you coming to London?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like we played like the Sin City Festival in
yeah,
London.
and we did Hanwell Hootie last year.
And Hanwell Hootie
like,
as well.
We've got nothing booked in London this year so far. Like,
but we
like our year so far is we're working on a new album. We've got a new single out end of February.
End of February.
And like hopefully by about September time, there's going to be an album. And like if we can get down to London, we'd love to. Like you know, like this just seems to be like the electronic music world is like really weird. Like there seems to be a lot happening in London, a lot happening in Manchester, and then you have like little islands like Newcastle, like where there's 2 or 3 bands up here, and we all get really well, but like we're a world apart from everyone. Like,
well, it's good to see you know, things happening outside of London, because you know London's always so like, you know, the big. And let me tell you something. I've lived in London for a long time, and you know, I don't want to be cynical about my hometown, but it is becoming quite sterile, because we had like, you know, venues like the Astoria, you know, really iconic venues are being shut down now, so we can build a block of flats.
Yeah.
And it's all these iconic venues where the hello, could you keep the noise down? It's 10 p.m. We want to go to bed. It's like there's no fucking rock and roll here anymore. So I think this is why, and I see this where a lot of artists like you are emerging from. That's not to say you can't be a great artist if you're not in London. It's just I think London gets all the attention, but I'm here to tell you that it's overrated, guys.
Yeah.
Overrated.
Let me just tell you something now that you're speaking about this. That song that you're singing, it's called Little Buildings, and it was our practice room, and it was also a venue in Newcastle. So the entire album of Usburn, it basically speaks about the closure of music venues because of gentrification. So that is the entire album, and Little Buildings is when we didn't know it was going to happen, so we just wrote it as in, oh well, like maybe in some years time it might happen or it might not. It was just like kind of like our just way of finishing the album, like all the entire music venues in the Usburn just like are destroyed. But it did happen last year, and it was really sad, obviously, like to lose our practice room and also a music venue that was home for loads of small artists. So luckily it's reopening again, but it's been a year. Like they have relocated, but it's been a year where it's been really, really painful.
Yeah. Like it's interesting what you were saying about London. Like you do need like these little ecosystems, like these collections of like small venues and like bands like around an area, like, you know, all that innovation to happen. Like I'm just interested to see now how, like maybe now that everything's moving online, like maybe these ideas are going to cross-pollinate in a digital space rather than in like geographic locations.
It is good though, because I'm a real advocate of electronic music and synthesizers. I really do, but obviously I like the fact that you guys are real musicians. You see, I'm quite egotistical when I do a song as well. No, egotistic is not the right word, but I'm like, I'll do the full scale production, but I need to be able to take that whole song away and just play it on the piano and just sing it. I'll ask myself this question: if this song was released 200 years ago before synthesizers, will it work? And that is my baseline. I have to be able to sing it and play it on the piano without any production, and that is kind of my thing. And I think this is where a lot of songs fall flat. But having listened to the songs I've heard, your song so far, and even Empathy Test, who I'm going to interview on Monday, is their songs are not based on technology. You could take all the technology away and you could do it acoustically and it will still sound great. So this is where I feel you guys are working. And I just hope, I don't know, I'm this is just something popped in my head now. I just hope we can do something where we get you guys to London and we can do some kind of a show with you and Empathy Test and, you know, something else. You know, let's I've got the idea now. Let's get Rusty in this. And, you know, sometimes I say things without thinking them through, but
no. If it happens, just Please let us know. We'd love to.
Fingers crossed.
I just, as I said, I feel your enthusiasm, and it's it's infectious, and it's just so refreshing. Because, and I think what gives you guys the edge as well is, a lot of people, they say now that laptops are outselling guitars. Kid wants, before a kid want their first guitar, now they want laptops. And so everyone has a go at producing these days, and there's amazing things you can do with computers and stuff. However, I bring it back to my previous monologue, where if you're a musician, you can actually perform it live, and your songs are good, and you look good. You guys are gonna, you're gonna mop up. You're gonna do really well. So,
yeah. Like, I think our that kind of it's not analog, but that kind of fixation on the instruments and not wanting to have a backing track. There's nothing worse as a audience member than oh, sorry guys, I've just got to go fiddle with I've got MIDI problems, or my laptop's restarting because it needs to update. I don't know, Windows update or some rubbish like that. It's yeah.
The reason why we don't use backing tracks or laptops is because I'm terrified of that happening of our live performance, because we love playing live.
Yeah.
Every time we have a gig, and it doesn't matter which one it is, and it doesn't matter where, if it's big, if it's small.
Keyboards are a little bit tougher, more or less. I mean, we've still got we've got 2 of these FA06s, and one's currently in the repair shop.
Yeah.
But they're good little workhorses.
Yes.
They are, yes. Now, as I say, I'm fascinated by the way you work, because obviously when I was just looking at your sort of live footage and your rehearsal footage, and you've got the James, you've got the earphones in, and I'm just sort of, I just assume, and I'm going, okay, where's the laptop and blah blah blah. So it's very the way you guys are doing it. It's very sort of it's very old school, really, but it's very reliable, and it does mean you can sort of just do it on the fly. You can just show up and go bang, because it's just the drums, the bass, and everything's
and a DI box for the keyboard.
Yeah, everything's inside the Phantom, and so it's it does make it very simple. So as I say, I do want to interview you on my Geek Talk series. Hopefully, are you guys in a situation where you can show us your setup and what you do? And on that, are you guys self-produced, or do you work with the producer?
We work with a couple. I mean, we've been experimenting over a couple of years, just to try and find the way of getting the sound that's right for us. And at the moment we're recording all of our drums and bass in Newcastle.
Okay.
At a studio called Blank with a guy called John Martindale, and we're recording all of the electronics in Cuenca
in Spain,
with Iñaki Martinez.
Yeah.
Iñaki is just
he's amazing.
He has a head for sounds, which is just.
Yeah. The good thing is that whenever we take a song to a producer, probably more than the basics is still there. So it's not that we just take a song that it's half written or something, and then they just suddenly make magic, and then just basically that whatever we have done in the past, that's how we play it. Yes. There might be things where maybe they can go oh, maybe this layer of the keyboard, why don't you replace it for something else?
Sure.
It's not. I don't want to give the impression that it's oh, we just have write the songs and then take it to a producer and then he does
You're not arriving there with a chord structure in the bare bones. You're pretty much giving them something which is probably 80% there, and then just giving it that sheen. And that's great, because we see this a lot. You get people who perform live, and you look at classic example. The band MGMT.
Yeah.
Now
I want to pretend my head went to another song, but it was
if I'm feeling raw, this is the time of my life. Now they are, to me, typically a studio band, because if you've ever seen them live, it's it just doesn't seem to work. So I think where you guys, it kind of reminds me of you know, you guys will obviously watch my channel after this, hopefully, so you can see your interview, and you will see we talk a lot about Depeche Mode. You know, I was
like we've been in your channel. There's loads of videos of like Depeche Mode.
And it's not, I'm not only interested in Depeche Mode, but what I think now is when Depeche Mode started, they had their keyboards, and they would pretty much write their songs, and they'd work out the parts, and then they'd go into a studio, and their first album, Speak and Spell, it sounded very similar to what it would live, because it was kind of like them kind of just like with what you guys are doing. You're not going in with, you're kind of presenting, okay, this is what it will sound like live. Can we just have the record? And as a result, your records obviously sound like records, but they don't sound completely different, because often you hear people like MGMT, and the record's great, and you see them live, it's like, it just doesn't sound right. So I think because you guys have got this minimalist approach, it just works, because your focus is on the live sound. Am I right? Yeah. So that's absolutely where we want to be, because repeating myself, a lot of bands are just like, you see them live and it's just like, because they're studio bands, and you guys are a live act, and that is something no one can take away from you. It's such a skill. And it's funny, because if you look in the 60s and back in those days, it was like, you know, you needed to be able to play instruments. And we come back to the sort of X Factor culture. I never forget, I used to manage a restaurant once, and there were these two housewives. They were having a cup of tea, and they were talking about X Factor or something, and they were saying, "No, yeah, did you watch the?" And they were talking about one of the contestants, and they said, "Yeah, she's really good. She writes her own songs, and she can play the guitar." And I'm thinking, oh, we're so going backwards. You know, we're at a stage now where we're impressed because a musician can play a guitar and sing their songs. Yeah? But the great thing about this moment is, I think that's all changed. You know, I think there was this time, sort of early 2000s in the noughties, where, you know, pop stars had to be 20 years old, and it had to be, people don't want that bullshit anymore. There's such like this awakening in the world where people want authenticity. You can be 65 years old, but if your message is sincere and your music's good, people want it. You know, people don't want the bullshit anymore. Was that monologue number 3 or 4? Who's interviewing who? Yeah.
It's your channel. You're allowed to do it.
Yeah. It's my channel. You know, as I say, guys, I would love to interview you guys in person. So I think what we should do is let's definitely talk about doing a Geek Talk interview. Where we'll talk to you guys like this. This is just sort of like a general interview. And I would like to keep you guys on the channel, in the family, and just, I know my subscribers, I know a lot of my subscribers are going to go, wow, thank you for this, because I see this all the time. People send me music, and I'm like, this is great. Why does no one know about this? You know? No, but you turn on TV or BBC 1 and 2, and it's like, check out this new up and coming artist, and I'm like, what? Vaughn, you're getting old. It's like, no. And my saving grace is on my channel, and in my Facebook group, I've got a lot of teenagers, you know, like 14, 15-year-olds, and these guys, to me, yeah, and also my channel, I've got a lot of like 50-year-olds and, you know, and older. And, you know, they have rants about the music industry and stuff. But then they say, but Vaughn, you know, we're old. But then it's always refreshing when you get a 15-year-old that's going, our music sucks. you know, and that's not to say that, look, you guys are an example that there is still a lot of, this is a fantastic time for music. There is still great music out there, but you need to just find it.
Yeah.
But when you find it, it's really good. As an example of Twist Helix. How did you come up with the name, by the way?
Okay. So, like, all of our music's kind of like about where music comes from and about identity.
Yeah.
So, Newcastle is a city that's like related with the finding of the like double strands of DNA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we had like a couple of names that were potential names, but in the end, we just we are aware as well that as a band, you need to kind of enter the name of the band on Google, and that should be the first thing that should appear. And that kind of worked with our name because everything was available, like
although
Twitter, Facebook, and so on.
If anyone is thinking about naming a band, like honestly, advice, like everyone like lists things alphabetically. So like start your band name with A. Like I wish we'd done that. Maybe we'd float to the top of those lists a little bit easier.
Like on SoundCloud and stuff like that. Yeah.
Here's advice for anyone watching: call yourself AAA 111.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a dreadful name, isn't it? AAA 111. I reckon. I bet you some music industry is going to go, that's a great idea, because I hate this. And Rusty and I were banging on about this in that interview. It's this whole sort of, as Rusty goes, the painting by numbers thing. Is like, oh, got your little chorus, you got your little verse, and and then there's the song, and they go, oh no, hang on, it's too long. It's more than 2 minutes long. Okay, we'll speed it up. Start with the chorus, get them involved. You know, there's no and I don't want to be crude here. But it's kind of like it's the orgasm without the foreplay.
Yeah.
It's now in the mainstream music where it's like, people don't have the comprehension for a concept album anymore. You know, it's kind of like especially when you've got the radio on. Like sometimes I come into the house and my fiance's got like Kiss FM or something on. I'm like, turn that racket down, But it's just like the music. It's like, and it's almost like the music these days. And sorry, I sound like an arsehole now, but I'm not. It's almost like it's catered for the shortest possible concentration span. Yeah, the tempo is fast. There's so much happening, and it's all got to happen. You know. Oh, I just like with your music. It breathes. It has an introduction, and then it has a melody, and it has. And it has a story behind it. Oh my God, there's a story behind it. It's not boom, boom, boom. I met this girl in the club. Tell my bitches go, ho, boom, boom. You know, there's a story behind it. You know, I've had nothing to drink, guys. It's just me. I get really excited. Yeah. Are we going to leave it there for this first interview? I think we'll leave it on a higher.
Yeah, like hopefully there's something usable there. Like
there definitely is from you guys. So before we go. I'm going to put links in the description below to everything. So let's start off with your website. Is it twisthelix.com?
Yeah, twisthelix.com. Yes.
Twisthelix.com, because I think when I first reached out to you, James, I called you Twisted Helix. So
that's another guy. He's great though.
Yeah. You know, it happened to us once. Someone just came to our gig, and to our bass player, he was like, oh, you know what? I love this song called Love Something. And our bass player was like, we don't have a song called.
That's the other guy.
And apparently he was listening to Twisted Helix. No, you got the wrong band there.
Twisthelix.com. Okay, and your Facebook page?
/Twist Helix.
And you're on Twitter, Instagram, all those?
As Twist Helix Band.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will get all those links and put them in the description below for the subscribers and everything. Okay, as I say, we'll get you guys in on the Geek Talk series next, because I'd love to. I just love your sort of minimalistic and simplistic approach to something which.
It's not gonna be that simple when I'll explain it.
Because I do find, because you know, in my channel with the geeks, a lot of people when they make music these days, they overcomplicate things. It's like, you know, they forget that the song's the most important thing. It becomes about the gear, and it becomes really complex. I like the way that you guys are really simplifying the art of performance, and at the end of the day, it is a performance. So yeah, very, very interesting. When you come to London, please, we should have a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really think we should just try and set something up where you guys can definitely come and do a gig here, and maybe something with empathy test. I don't want to talk on behalf of anyone, but it definitely can be done, because I mean, I think what you guys are doing is brilliant, and I think there's a massive market for it. Forget about what the mainstream music industry is. There is a massive market for what you guys are doing. I just see it and I feel it. God, it sounds like I'm trying to sell you to someone, doesn't it? But guys, really passionate about what you're doing, love what you're doing, and you guys got that really great vibe about you. You know, you watch the videos, and then when you meet you, you're just down to earth, great, nice people. And just to my subscribers, can I just say they haven't paid me to say this? So okay, guys, is there anything else you want to say? Are you going to?
Just thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to appear like in the next video and show you like the mess that I have in my Roland.
And you will be the first girl on Geek Talk. Can I say that?
Get in, yes.
There's so many guys. It'd be nice to get a beautiful senorita on Geek Talk. The men how it's done. Well, James, you wanted to say something there.
Yes.
New single, Louder, 28th February. It's going to be on Spotify. Please do check it out. Or our record label will tell us off. There we go.
Well, guys, as I say, you're definitely part of the Vaughn George community here, and we'll keep this going. And I will, obviously plug you wherever I can.
Thank you.
But Bea, James, Twist Helix, send my love to Baz.
Yeah,
Will do.
we will.
Yeah.
Baz, we spoke to this really mad bloke today.
Sad. You just had a picture of him like or something.
He wants to talk to us again. Oh no! But you guys have a great day.
Okay.
Okay.
Peace out. You guys keep on rocking. You guys are doing awesome work. Really love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
See you soon, yeah? Adios.
See ya. Adios.